The insanity is just starting, my friends. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We got so many things as usual to get into. We have that wonderful meeting of the forum going on right now. We'll get into that in Davos. We have also what Ben Affleck just said on Joe Rogan. We'll get into that. We got a wonderful winter storm coming our way. It looks like it might be a really big one according to what people are saying. We'll get into that. We actually have a ton of other stuff as well to get into. Let's just get going here. Let's start with Ben Affleck talking about AI in landscape caught me off guard as a writer. Check this out.
What I see is that, for example, if you try to get ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini to write you something, it's really shitty. And it's shitty because by its nature, it goes to the mean, to the average. And it's not reliable. And I just can't even stand to see what it writes. Now, it's a useful tool if you're a writer and you're going, what's the thing? I'm trying to set something up, or somebody sends someone a letter, but it's delayed 2 days and it can.
This reminds me of something I saw on another tweet where we had this man named Yuval at the forum telling everybody that soon here, all the books are going to be written by AI, and it's so creative and awesome. It's better than humans. And I just talked about this in my other video, how absolutely ridiculous this is. Because whenever I've used AI, it's similar to what he's saying. Like whenever you're stuck in a situation where you're like, how does this happen? How does this certain, product work? And I'll explain it to you. How does this work in science? And I'll explain whatever you're asking, right? That's about the only time it's useful, from what I can tell. Anytime you try to get it to ask, how to create a certain plot to a movie, it does a horrible job. If you ask it about a controversial topic, it always sides with whoever the creator of the AI is. You know what I mean? This is what I've noticed myself. It's absolutely useless outside of very basic stuff. And we had this guy at the forum saying that it's going to take over all of everything. Check this out.
Do you know? As far as putting words in order is concerned, AI already thinks better than many of us. Therefore, anything made of words will be taken over by AI.
And I saw tweets today of people saying, better get your printed Bibles. I mean, yeah, you should have a printed Bible. I 100% agree with that. But it's not like it's going to actually do what he says. It's not going to. Because whenever it comes to controversial topics or something that everyone has an opinion on that are fighting over it, it's only going to be the AI's creator opinion that you're going to see. And that's the exact point. In other words, this is a ruse. What he's talking about is a ruse. They are trying to trick you into thinking AI is super smart. It's going to take over everything and that you're going to allow it to happen. And when you allow it to happen, these guys right here are going to dictate everything you think. That's the entire point of it. That's what I noticed with that whole thing. Now, here's an example from Matt Walsh of how ridiculous this idea of AI being so smart. This is pure unmitigated shit. Ben Affleck couldn't be more right, showing how AI makes horrible movie storylines. Check this out. So let's just play this real quick and get them audio on it. Okay, maybe not. As you can see there, it's adding Harry Potter and the Vietnam War together. Not very good. I can't even get it on the screen right. Why is it I can't get... Okay, now I can do it. All right, there we go. What the heck, dude? That's really dumb. You know what I mean? Clearly doesn't understand what people want. This is the entire point of what they're trying to sell us. Obviously, we're going to get into a ton of stuff. Here's another example. This is actually a good example of how AI can be used. We have here Bruce Springsteen at a concert recently. A lot of people pointing out how he has a similar shuffle to our former president, Biden. And they put Biden's face on him. Check this out. Oh my goodness, I better not play too much. Might get a copyright on it from Bruce Springsteen. I'm serious, actually. Literally serious. I might have actually played 2 seconds too long there. I've seen 7 seconds getting caught now. It used to be 30 seconds. Anyway, we got a ton of stuff to get into. We got this insane weather coming our direction, and they're saying this could be the biggest one ever, the biggest in your lifetime. We'll get into that. We got also a number of interesting developments from this whole forum we're going to get into as well. First, I'm going to mention food supply, 25-year shelf life. They have a limited time offer right now going on. 3 months worth of food supply, deluxe package, plus $400 free winter preparedness gear. You might actually need this considering the storm coming in right now. You have an indoor self-powered heater right here that comes free with this package. Go check it out. It has all these other options, and items included, matches, lots of other things you would need in case there's some sort of winter storm where you get stuck in. By the way, it's supposed to be a lot of America, quite a bit of America. Let me show you a picture of it. I've seen actually more pictures than this. I mean, it's going to cover quite a bit of America. I guess I'll just show you. I'm going to show you that in a minute here. You can see in this picture kind of where it is. I mean, literally Indianapolis to Florida, the top of Florida right there, and then all the way across beyond Texas. As you can tell, kind of a lot of area. Go check it out. Link is in the description. This book here, The Lost Ways, How Your Great-Great-Grandfather Lived Without Electricity. That was one of the things that's being mentioned. I'm going to show you in a minute here. They're actually talking about how water pumps could be destroyed by this. They're talking about power outages. They're talking about everything. All right. Get the printed version, of course, $37. I'll link is in the description for that as well. Let's get back to the video. Go check out my other social media link below as well. They're quietly admitting it now. A once-in-a-lifetime storm is about to hit half the U.S., and it could turn out catastrophic. This is going to be one of those storms you probably remember for much of your life. Matt Randolph, a renowned energy expert, Forbes energy contributor, breaks down a forecast that was dismissed all week until every major model converged. He says that it isn't just a snowstorm. It's an infrastructure event, below zero temperatures, heavy snow and ice zone, calling for up to 3 inches of ice. That's insane. There's going to be loss of life. Grid's going to fail. Refineries are going to shut down. Water systems are going to shut down. Let's just check out what he has to say here.
Half the United States is going to be below freezing. Most of that below zero. They're calling for, foot and a half of snow all through here, all the way to the mid-Atlantic, and 3 inches of ice in this pink band right here. 3 inches of ice is unbelievably catastrophic. That is worse than what Texas experienced in 2021. There's going to be loss of life. Anywhere there's 3 inches of ice, there's no power. There's not going to be a power line that's not on the ground when there's 3 inches of ice. And emergency services aren't going to be able to reach you.
That's crazy. That area right there above the top of Florida, all the way over into Texas, it looks like.
Because there's 3 inches of ice on the road. That's what's going to happen if this forecast is correct. The grid's going to fail. Refineries are going to shut down. Water systems are going to shut down. Could knock out a couple of LNG terminals if it goes far enough south on the Gulf Coast. This is going to be a disaster if this forecast is even close to accurate.
This is crazy. So, and there's a lot of people talking about this right now regarding the storm. We haven't seen a signal this strong for a major winter storm in a very long time. This could be the kind of storm you remember forever. I happen to live literally right in this area, right on the edge of the bad stuff. My researcher, he lives down here in Florida, so I guess he might be safe. I don't know, man. I don't know where all my subscribers live. I'm sure all across the United States, in various places. I mean, it looks like the West Coast is going to be faring better than the East Coast, obviously. But you get kind of the idea so far. We have also more on this. Massive winter storm targets central and southern U.S. with snow and ice. Computer models shifted the storm path slightly north overnight. Oh, that's interesting. Looks like they were wrong. It is going to be in my area. I mean, goodness gracious. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll be still in the blue. I don't know. It's looking kind of crazy, actually. It's going into Michigan, too. Yeah, so maybe I'm not going to be safe. All right. Heavy snow in places like northern Oklahoma, Kansas City, Louisville. 12 to 24 inches possible south of that. Over an inch of ice could build from Texas to the Carolinas, snapping trees, downing power lines, causing widespread blackouts as warned by meteorologist Jim Cantor. Officials like Ryan Hall urge stocking food, water, and meds for 3 days. DHS and FEMA coordinate preparations amid surging natural gas prices from the cold snap. I'm sure you guys have heard of Ryan Hall, y'all. You know, he's got that channel talking about the weather all the time. At any rate, so you got that story. What's interesting is some are wondering if this is all, of course, entirely natural. You have our president literally today, while this is about ready to happen, talking about climate change. And he says it was created by these quote-unquote losers at the forum. United States avoided the catastrophic energy collapse. All right, so this is really curious. Is there some relation? Let's just play a little bit of this, all right, and see what he says.
Because of my landslide election victory, the United States avoided the catastrophic energy collapse which befell every European nation that pursued the Green New Scam, perhaps the greatest hoax in history.
So this is interesting because we covered this, okay, about 6 months to a year. Actually, it was a year ago. It was in winter. A year ago, we had what happened all across Europe and various, it was like 3 or 4 countries, Germany, I can't remember them all. But essentially what they did is they switched over to all renewable energies. And on top of that, which is the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life, by the way, with a background in this, my thematic cluster was power plant technology as a mechanical engineer, so I literally know what I'm talking about. When it comes to this, they refuse to back up the renewable energy with coal-fired power plants. They just turned them off. They just turned off the coal-fired power plants. They turned off all the power plants that were not renewable energy, which is absolutely insane. It's asinine. And then they had a complete blackout. You remember that whole thing? What's so weird is the timing of this storm and how it's a once-in-a-century storm, and our president's talking about this at this forum. Very strange.
Green New Scam, windmills all over the place, destroy your land. Destroy your land. Every time that goes around, you lose $1,000.
I mean, he looks at it as a business person, right?
Supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. Here in Europe, we've seen...
I remember when I was in college, we were actually, like I said, I studied this in college. They were talking back then how renewable energy was inefficient and didn't work. That was like 25 years ago. That's how long ago. It's been a while since I've been in college, okay? I'm 50 years old now. Obviously, this is not good, right? So it's just kind of amazing how they have not solved anything with the efficiency issues with regarding to renewable energy. They have not gotten anywhere. It's kind of hilarious, actually. So obviously, if they haven't got there in 25 years, you think they're going to get there in another 25 years? They just want us to pay through the nose for this renewable energy, which just makes them money. Honestly, that's what it seems like. You have here James get into the whole forum there in Davos, and apparently got them to say some stuff that's rather interesting about weather, which is really weird timing, considering the wonderful storm coming our direction right now. Okay, kind of weird. Carbon taxes, those, trails that they tell us don't exist. Apparently, they all admitted to them in the audio and the video. I thought it doesn't exist.
Hotel. I'm gonna go in there. Laser light comms and dark panel. Do you have that company in your portfolio that does artificial rain?
Oh my goodness, they're just like talking about like, hey, yeah, we got a plethora of businesses that cover all this stuff. Artificial, of course, rain and lots of other random stuff. Yeah, of course, we all do this stuff. But we, of course, also own the media, and we tell them that it's all crazy stuff, and none of the stuff's true, even though we do it all. Inner meetings behind these closed doors.
There might be people around me that would be alleged to have information.
This is actually really long. It's 20 minutes. I think he's got lots of footage from what I understand. And they're admitting to a lot of things. They're all talking like it's very common. Everybody does it. We all know. Of course, it's all true. All that stuff we tell you is crazy town and not real. We do it all. We just don't tell you that we do it. We just tell you the exact opposite. We totally gaslight you, of course. Then we got this guy here, which apparently is completely contradicting himself. He's from a certain country in the Middle East. I think you know which one I'm referring to. And he's talking basically nonsense here. It doesn't make any logical sense what he's saying. Paul Joseph Watson shows kind of that. Check this out.
Right in many European countries is a response to the insecurity felt by the old Europeans.
So he's talking about, let me back this up. So he's talking about the old Europeans are obviously those that actually are born in those European countries, you know, perhaps people like Spaniards that were actually born in Spain, or people born in France that are perhaps, you know, French. That's what he's talking about. And he's talking about how those on the right in many of these European countries, or this is them getting upset over all the stuff going on. Okay, this is sort of the context. Check this out.
In many European countries is a response to the insecurity felt by the old Europeans, so-called old Europeans, regarding the new immigrants who came from the Middle East.
Old right-wing Europeans, by which he means native white Europeans, who are concerned about their countries being flooded by young men from Islamic countries. They're the real threat. Islamic countries inhabited, by the way, by people who hold overwhelmingly negative and often outright extremist views towards Jews in Israel. Yeah, they're okay, though.
So I think that fighting Islamophobia.
Okay, so this guy is saying that the real problem is not the new immigrants that are coming into Europe that are Muslim. That's not the problem. Even though there's a long history of Muslims not being very nice towards people like him. Okay? He says they're not a problem. These Muslim immigrants are not a problem, even though they tend to not like this guy whatsoever. The real problem is the old Europeans, which are basically the people that actually originated from Europe, that were actually born in those countries, that actually are ethnically, you know, French or ethnically, you know what I mean? Like, he's saying those are the real problem. The real problem are the original people that were in these countries, not the new migrants, the new ones that apparently hate our guts, but for some reason we're not scared or anything of them at all. The real problem is these right wingers. This is literally what he's saying. Now, tell me, does that make any sense whatsoever? It makes no sense. He's more scared of a fictional boogeyman than an actual real problem for his community, which tells me there's something weird going on here. It's not what he's saying. There's something else going on here that he doesn't want. You see what I mean? It doesn't follow logically. It doesn't follow logically. There clearly is some weird thing in the background that they're not telling us, at least with this guy. Something that he's doing or thinking that he doesn't apparently want us to know about. He just wants us to believe in this fake boogeyman for some reason. I don't get it. At any rate, so you got that. Then you got this. The new apparent world, order is dead. Co-chair and BlackRock CEO Larry Fink openly admit that they have lost the public's trust, and now they face an age of populism. So they lost. They lost, and they're now admitting it. All right? Let's check this out.
We believe that outside the United Nations, this is the largest gathering of global leadership of the post-COVID period of time. For many people, this meeting feels...
That was it. Your 2020 little thing you did there is the reason why no one trusts you anymore.
...out of step with the moment. We hear all about the elites. And how does that play out in an age of populism? How does an established institution make a difference in an era of deep institutional mistrust?
Well, you don't, because no one trusts you anymore, dude. So you're not going to get anything done. You might try to get a few things done, but it's going to be stalled. It's going to be like running through sand or running through mud. It's not going to get very far at all. And like I said, we got a ton more to get into. I'm going to cover a ton of stuff over my other channel that I'm not going to get into over here. Actually, it's all completely different stories. But I wanted to get into some stuff at the end. Something I'm going to cover at the tail end of my other video, I'm going to cover right now. So apparently, we have some weird stuff going on with Canada and Greenland and Europe. And I talked about what I think is really going on. I think it has to do with there being 3 major world powers, not 2. And one of them behaves completely differently than the other 2. And the one that behaves completely differently is the one who's been, in the back rooms doing stuff and sort of working in a strange manner. So I'll explain this out. We have Canada preparing for U.S. invasion. For the first time in 100 years, Ottawa is planning for prospect of an attack from the southern border. Now, they know that's not going to happen. I'm pretty sure they know that's not going to happen. They're very concerned because Canada, like Europe, is the third power. This third power is that one people have been talking about for over a decade here on YouTube. They call it the new, world order, right? So that's who they are. As a matter of fact, Carney recently said that, by the way. He literally said it like 2 days ago, that exact phrase. At a meeting, I can't remember what meeting it was, but he said it. At any rate, so the point is you have America and you have Russia and China. And these are two, or I would say sort of like 2 superpowers in the world that are working or behaving normally, where they're like trying to protect their borders. They're trying to like get everything in place to keep their countries safe and efficient and economically viable and all that kind of stuff. You have these 2 separate powers functioning as you would say is what I would call normal, like what you saw throughout history for thousands of years. Then you have this other backwards parasitic power, which I call the third power, that has taken over Europe and Canada and is destroying it from the inside out. So what I'm talking about is these are the faceless people in the background trying to, manipulate things, put things where they want them. But they're essentially like parasitic and destroying Europe. This is why Europe is in the shape it currently is. This is why Canada is going the same direction. It is a backwards, not helpful or promoting in any way, shape, or form Canada or Europe. It's actually doing the exact opposite. And this is what I believe that guy back here is all about that I showed you. Where did it go? Goodness gracious, got too many windows open like usual. This guy. He's basically one of these types. He's one of these third power types where what he says makes no logical sense, right? It makes absolutely no sense what he said. Like, you're not actually protecting your own people, bro. You're literally working to backwards. You're actually ruining your situation for your own people. You're ruining the situation for your own people. You're ruining the situation for Europe. You're ruining the situation for Canada. You're not protecting Canada. You're not protecting Europe. You're wide open doors. Everybody coming in that don't like you. So clearly, this guy is not in serving his own best interests. Why? Because he's one of them. Just like Carney's one of them. Just like Newsom's one of them, right? They're literally working backwards for their own people and ruining their countries, actually destroying their countries. And this is what this forum is this third power, which is not really about one country and trying to protect it and make it better. It's all about literally being a parasite and getting into every country and taking them over. So that's what I'm trying to get at. So it's a backwards mentality to running the world. We have, and I'm going to get into, like I said, a lot more of this over on my other channel because I got a lot more to get into. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.